be honest, usually when we look at quantum mechanics, my eyes tend to glaze over a bit. But this deep dive, this is different.
A lot more personal.
Exactly. It's on quantum phenomenology. And we're looking at this report on something called the eternal timestamp. The whole idea is pretty much that you aren't just living in the universe.
You're the one holding it together.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge claim.
It is a bold claim. The source material argues that reality is what it calls a participatory mirror portal.
Which, sounds like a total sci-fi trope.
It does, but stick with it. The argument is all about this eternal timestamp.
Okay.
When you hear timestamp, you probably think of a computer log, right? A record of something that already happened.
Yeah, something in the past.
This report argues the opposite.
Yeah.
It's saying the timestamp isn't a record of the past, it's the very act of making the present. It's the coordinate where your attention hits the quantum field and says, this is real.
So without that attention,
Yes.
that timestamp, the moment doesn't really exist as a solid thing.
Not in the way we think of it, no. The source points to the quantum Zeno effect.
Right.
In physics, the idea is if you observe an unstable system often enough, you literally freeze its evolution. You stop it from changing just by looking at it.
It's like the whole "a watched pot never boils" thing, but it's actual physics.
Precisely. And the report applies this to your mind. It suggests that when you focus on small details, the warmth of the air, the feeling of your foot on the floor, you're creating ontological density.
Ontological density. So you're making it heavier, more real.
You're preventing the moment from dissolving back into a haze of just possibilities. You anchor it.
That's where their distinction between Chronos and Kairos really helped me.
Yeah. Chronos is just linear time, your calendar.
Yeah.
But Kairos, that's vertical, it's depth.
And the timestamp lives in that depth.
Right. And when you drop into that Kairos state, you're not just a passive observer. The text says you become the arouser of the image. And get this, it cites research suggesting up to 80% of what we perceive is just internal projection.
So we're basically hallucinating our reality, but the Zeno effect makes that hallucination feel like solid fact.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
But it gets a lot more hopeful when we talk about desire.
Okay, this was the part that felt the most practical. They use quantum tunneling as a metaphor for, well, getting what you want. Normally, I see a barrier. Not enough money, not enough time, I have to climb over it.
That's the classical view. You hit a wall, you bounce off. But in quantum mechanics, a particle can just tunnel right through a barrier it shouldn't be able to cross.
And the report frames desire as that barrier between lack and fulfillment.
Exactly. And the way to tunnel is completely counterintuitive.
It's detachment.
Yes.
Yes.
Because attachment, obsession, that thickens the barrier. You add density to the wall, detachment thins it out, and consciousness can just tunnel straight to the fulfilled state.
But that has to assume that the fulfilled state already exists somewhere for me to even jump to.
And that's entanglement. The source says a desire and its fulfillment are, well, they're like entangled particles, one system. The moment the desire forms, the fulfillment has to exist simultaneously in the quantum field.
This is where my brain started to hurt a little, because then they bring in retrocausality, the future influencing the past.
It's based on a real experiment, the delayed choice quantum eraser.
Yeah.
It's heavy stuff.
So what's the takeaway?
The takeaway is that we think we're moving towards a goal. This suggests the opposite. That future state of fulfillment is actually reaching back in time and influencing your perception right now.
Wait, so the reason I even have the desire in the first place is because the future fulfillment is already signaling to me.
Exactly. You aren't chasing the future. The future is lighting up your present.
Okay, but let's ground this. We're still biological. How does this connect to our actual bodies?
The report mentions that. Our cells use quantum coherence all the time for things like photosynthesis. We are biological quantum observers.
Yeah.
But it splits you into two parts. There's the temporary you, your ego, personality, the you that worries.
And the immortal consciousness, the thing holding the flashlight.
Right, the immortal part is connected to everything. The temporary you is just experiencing the reflection in the mirror. And the advice is actually beautiful. Delight in the ages while enjoying every bit of the temporary.
So it's a shift from striving to just allowing. You stop banging your head against the wall and realize you can just walk through it.
You move from a classical mode of force and effort to a quantum mode of probability.
It just implies that the struggle we feel it's a lack of attention, a failure to timestamp the right things.
Or time-stamping the wrong things, giving that ontological density to your fears instead of what you want.
That's a sobering thought. So here's the question we want to leave you with. If the world around you is just a reflection, a shadow cast by your own internal frequency, what happens to that world the precise moment you truly, deeply accept that there's nothing left to chase?